Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, we're going to talk about repairing your credit. We're going to talk about getting yourself aligned to be able to accept the good things that are going to happen to you when you start working on repairing your credit. A lot of people, when I read the comments, when I read what they're going through, the questions that are being asked, I could see that one of the main issues is that a lot of people don't have their mind set for success. Like they're expecting to be disappointed. They're expecting for it to be the way that it used to be. Maybe you're not that way, but we all have certain things that we had to get over. For some reason, it's a lot easier for some people and harder for other people. And I admit that I have my own things that I have to keep continually working on so I can get changes in my life for things that I want to happen. And it and also I wanted to, before we get into that, I'm gonna show you like a little worksheet strategy that I use for accomplishing goals, but I want to have it specifically talking about credit repair. But before we get started, just wanted to give updates because a lot of people were not emailing, but posting comments about my what's happening with the stock market. Is it crashing? Bitcoin and all of that stuff. And I had made a video talking about how much I had lost in the market. I can tell you as of today, we've recovered 8,000 for today. It's Friday, the 15th, no, 13th of May, 2022. Just in case you're watching this video at a later date. So we've rebounded. I don't think that it's the end. I think that what's going to continue to happen due to until they get inflation under control, and until things kind of get caught back up to where it needs to be with interest rates and stuff like that. Once all of that stuff cools down, which I'm thinking it's going to take 2 years. It could be shorter, but I think it's going to take 2 good years. And for me, I'm not going to make the mistake that I made in 2008. I've left my money in the market. Not to say that it was a mistake. It's just that back at that time, if I would have left the money in the market and used other money for the real estate ventures that I did, it would have been, I would have had a double win instead of just winning with real estate. I'm going to leave money in the market. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add to it. My wife and I had a meeting. We're going to add to that money because one of the things that happened, you can look this up for yourself. You don't have to take my word on it. When everything settled after 2008, you can go and look at the charts for what happened with the stock market. Now, you do have to pick companies that are good. I would suggest, and I'm not making any investing advice for you. I'm just telling you what I do is I pick companies that I use, like Roku, Square. We use Square with our retail store. Microsoft with all of the systems in my offices, or Microsoft. We have like Carnival Cruise. I mean, cruising is. I've been on a Carnival cruise in the past, and I know that that's something that's going to come back real big. We have over, I think, 2,000 shares in Carnival. So, like, it's only with stuff that are good companies, solid. They got money. They made it through the virus situation. They're very heavily financed with cash of their own or with investment money, because they know that they got assets that if anything were to happen, it could be liquidated. So these companies are going to make it all the way back. So that's our strategy. So we're going to put more into it. Probably going to be a 1 to 2 year turnaround, but that's okay. What is the one thing that always happens is when it gets hot, everybody's jumping in, and everybody was like, man, I wish I would have did it back when it wasn't hot. And the reason why people have a hard time doing that, which is going to kind of relate into what we're going to talk about with credit repair process is that people are afraid. Number one, a lot of people are afraid of being the first. A lot of people are afraid of being embarrassed. A lot of people judge what they can do off of what other people did when they take away their own power of themselves. Like your situation, your success, everything about you is unique, and you need to accept that. I accept it for myself, and that will allow you not to judge your situation on someone else's situation. All you need to do is you need to know number if you want to make a straight line to it, you need to know your goal, and you need to point yourself there and do what's needed to get there, even if it feels uncomfortable. Never ask the advice of someone who has not gotten to where you want to be. I see a lot of people making that mistake. Why would you ask someone that has bad credit, how do you get to good credit? Why would you ask someone who has a low credit score how to get to a higher credit score? I could just imagine someone being at a barbecue with the family. It's a family reunion, and you got that uncle that's talking, and he's saying, this is what you got to do to get your credit up. And then you thinking, Unc, you still live with grandma in her house. Like I had I had a relative tell me about business, and I'm like, you don't even own a business. And I have at that time I had two businesses, and I just listened. People will give you all types of advice, but there's not too many people that are in the deep end of the water that are actually going through it. You'll find those people real quick, because when things start to happen, they have no answers for you. And so now I'm about to give you the answers on what you need to do to have excellent credit. And you need to listen to me, because I have excellent credit. I got 834, 835, and 834. The highest score you can get, I think one of them maybe made it 900, but 850. At one point, it was, I think 800 was the highest. Then they moved it up to 850. And then I think one of the bureaus, I need to look at that. I think one of the bureaus moved it up to 900. But is that because of inflation? I don't know. So this is what you need to do. And I put this on a sheet so you can see this. And what I did on this sheet, if you first you make this here, and on this side here, I had, let's just say that you have a 600 score, and over here you want to get to where I'm at 834. And then you make these lines right here. Those lines, what they represented are things that you have to do to get there. If you were taking a trip in a car and you were going to go see your grandmother or a friend or whoever, would you not want to know how to get there? Not to say that you won't, go down another street, you might not take another shortcut as you get going, but you're going to know where you're going. And that's what I think a lot of people don't do, is they just say, I want to have good credit or excellent credit. They don't really know what they want. So, and when you don't know what you want, your mind, the universe cannot, it has a hard time giving it to you, because you'll be so wishy-washy. Like if you have a goal pointed straight at what you want, you're going to be able to get there. That's what I want you to be thinking about. But where a lot of people have problems with that, which is something that I had a problem with in the past. And when I try to do new things, sometimes I fall into the pattern. Like this pattern is something that you can have a problem with whenever you're doing something new that you haven't done before. Even if you accomplished it with something else, the way the human mind works, it'll bring up an experience that's totally false to just give you, in a way, it's giving you like a roadmap of failure, because it's like you don't have the success roadmap, so let's give you the failure roadmap. It just does that on accident, and it's the reason why it's doing that is it's pulling in from information that you have. If you have never achieved an 834 score, what is your roadmap to get there right now? You don't know what it is. And even if I tell you, your feelings inside is what you're going to have to deal with to be able to even get there. And now I'm going to break that down, what I mean by that. So let's just talk about the easy stuff real quick. This is the easy stuff. This is the stuff that someone on YouTube will tell you. And a lot of it is because they just watched another YouTube video and they really don't know what they're talking about. So they just pick some stuff and wrap it up and put it into a video. So this is the easy stuff. The first thing is that you got to get your reports. How can you even know what you're going to have to work on without getting your reports? And for me, what I tell people to do is you need to pay for your reports. You pay for your reports for two reasons. Number one, so you can get all of the data. Number one, so you can get everything that you need, all the data, what you're going to need to work on, what's good. You got everything, all three reports, all three scores. But there's a second reason that people don't even pay attention to. When you buy something, what is the value of it when you buy something? Exactly. So I didn't put a price on it. It could be $1. It could be $10. It could be $1,000. It could be $10,000. The point is you're telling your mind, I put money down on that. That's why you'll get, when you buy something or you buy a service or product or something, you've bought into that, like you've taken the leap all the way over when you invested in whatever you bought. Like, and this is so slight, some people don't even understand it. Like, just think if you go to the store and you're shopping and you don't buy anything. Like this is something that happens with everything we do. Say you go to the store, you don't buy anything, and you leave. You go to the store and you buy something with your money. It's two whole different feelings that you get when you're coming out of the store. The first one is you didn't commit to anything. You got your money. You didn't buy nothing. You're thinking like, I didn't see something that I wanted, this and that. A lot of times when you're in there, you can see stuff that you want, but you can't take yourself to the decision process to buy it. And I'm not saying everybody has that issue, especially like with clothes, but there are certain things that you can go to get and you're like, man, should I spend that money? Because when you spend that money, in a way, you've taken the first step of commitment on whatever it is. If it's some clothes, if it's a car, if it's your credit reports, you've taken that first step. We have people that can't even take that step. Now, you might be thinking and scratching your head saying they can't even take that first step. Yes, there are people that we talk to on the phone and they cannot even take the first step to look at their report because of the fear. They have so much fear of what's on there that they don't even want to start going up that mountain to try to start repairing their credit. So the next thing is to do a strategy and figure out what is the strategy that you're going to use to submit to the bureaus for that negative information. Because some information on there could be 100% accurate on there. Some information could be an accurate account, but the information on there is not accurate. That's why you always have the right, no matter what, even if the account is yours, to have that account reviewed to make sure it's 100% accurate. If you get all three credit reports, you will see that there's different reporting on each report. And you're probably saying to yourself, how can that happen if I have that one creditor, but they put the information on each report three different ways? Why would that even happen? It happens all the time. That's why this whole thing, why the credit repair industry even exists, is that there's issues with the way that the information is being submitted. And if it's submitted the wrong way, it could make it look like you have multiple accounts. It can make it look like you're doing good on this account, even though you're doing good on that with that same account, but a different bureau is showing it different. car dealers, like, let me give you a quick example. Car dealers will usually they only going to use one bureau. So say you do very good with all of your accounts, but you had that one account that's for some reason either they're lagging, they're doing something wrong with the reporting, and it's making your score down. That affects your interest rate. That can make you have to pay hundreds more uh, per month. On you can end up paying $100 or $200 more by getting a lower interest rate, and then that's thousands of dollars over the term of your auto loan just for that simple mistake. That's why you want to make sure everything is accurate on your credit reports. Now, let's say it's a collection account, and let's say that you are disputing that account and it's not showing that it's being disputed. You've actually contacted the company and they're not putting that information on there, and you've never done business with that company. So you have a right to make sure that everything that debt collector placed on there is 100% accurate. They don't expect you to know that, but that could mess up an approval that you might have. That can mess up you being able to get a credit card or something. So you want to make sure that you have that strategy in place and that you submit it to them, because that's going to be the first thing that you're going to want to start working on when you're repairing your credit. Now, the next thing, which is something that we do, I don't think other credit repair companies do this, is that we work out a strategy to go at the furnishers. Now, if you're dealing with an original credit or furnisher that it was a charge-off account, went bad, you want to make sure that, number one, is it a 1099? Did they do a 1099-C, cancellation of debt, which could actually make that account have to show as paid in full, because they're writing that fully off with the IRS as a cancellation of debt, and they're making that be considered as income to you. So technically, they're going to be discharging that debt fully. The other way is if they sold that debt to a debt collector, they're accepting that payment as paid in full. They can't leave that on there as a charge off. Now, yes, they're going to try to leave it on there. No one's ever challenged them on that. We challenge them on that, because if you think about it, if they were to sell your debt to another mortgage company and they took it, they whatever they arranged, they never sell it for the full amount. Like, if they sell your account to another company, they're not selling it for the full amount. They're selling your mortgage to a company for a certain amount, and then that new company is assuming the collection of that of what is owed, because usually those accounts are sold to sold back to the government, mortgage-backed securities. So they're actually paying the federal government on that debt, and they're just collecting a percentage of the interest on from the payment that you make. So they have to put on that old account paid in full and transferred. That's what they have to do, because that's essentially what they did. So why wouldn't that work if someone got a charge off, the credit card company or whatever, whoever it is, sold it to a debt collector? Why wouldn't they have to post that information on there too? Not just saying sold, that it would actually be paid. Because once they've done that, it doesn't matter what amount they did, they've accepted that payment. But they get away with that all the time. They've accepted that payment. Now, the next part on that, and I'm like circling my boxes going across. I'm just telling you, this is the easy stuff. We haven't even got to the hard stuff yet. This is just the easy. This is like the elementary. We do it all the time, so I say elementary. Other companies don't go this far with stuff, because there's steps and stages in between all of that. It's not just sending a document. The next thing is review and follow-up process. From information that is sent back to you, sometimes by mail. It used to always be by mail, but now it's mainly just uploaded to your reports. And then if you have a credit monitoring service, you'll be able to see that information, and then you'll be able to see what was done, if something was either updated or something was totally deleted, you would be able to see that information, and then you would start your follow-up process again. And then what you're doing is you're just really redoing that whole process over and over and over again until you get to where you want to be. So now let's talk about something that I want you to put at the bottom of your sheet here. This is what I got, because this is what usually stops people. Like, the things that you think will stop you from working on your credit is probably one or two of these you'll probably have top of mind. The other things you probably didn't think about. First thing is people get too busy. That's just a problem that we all have. That's why businesses exist, is because business people do the things that other people are too busy to do or they don't want to do. That's why businesses exist. There's certain businesses that I use to do stuff because I'm just too busy to want to do it. Like, why would I get under my car and change my oil? Why would I change my tire unless I'm like, even if I'm out somewhere, I called to get it changed. Like, what am I going to be doing sitting underneath the car doing all of that stuff? That's not what I want to do. That's absolutely not what I want to do. The next thing is you're working. You're busy. You got to take care of stuff, taking care of the household, all of that type of stuff. You don't want to just, like, soon as you start doing something else that takes a little more time away from the little time that you already have, it stops you. Like, you just like, I just can't keep doing this. The next thing is answering collections. This is one of the big benefits that we have when clients come to work with us, is we will take on the debt collector calls. All you have to do is give permission, and they will call us. A lot of times they'll just write us, and we're doing that back and forth. We're already going to be doing the back and forth. So what we do is we just take on doing the back and forth, where we might also take calls. Next thing is negotiating settlements. I see a lot of people, when they get to this part of their credit repair journey, is that they're not willing to follow through with settlements. As with my program, now we have what I call the 8-point validation system, which is where we do what I just explained earlier. But then we have a 2-phase settlement process, which is where, if it becomes necessary, proven, this usually doesn't happen until 3 to 6 months down the line, where we know for sure this is what we're going to have to do to get you to the outcome that you want to be at. That's where we go into our negotiations, and we start to work out negotiations so you can move forward. But some people don't accept that is part of their credit repair process. And I'm here to tell you that even with me, when I had my credit issues in the 90s, part of my credit repair process was doing negotiations of debt. And then resubmitting documents. A lot of people have issues with doing something over and over again. It's like exercise, and it's like, you're not going to get to where you want to be unless you work out, and you got to go day after day doing your exercises. And the credit repair process is the same thing. I relate it to, you're just like exercising your mind, exercising your power, your ability to try to get something done. And I think what gets people frustrated is that there's part of this that is 100% not in your hands or in our hands. Once it gets to the bureaus, they're going to make their decisions, and then it comes back, and then that process starts again. It's not like, you're exercising and you can say, I'm going to do this exercise, I'm going to do it 3 sets, and you're right there, and you're the one that's doing it. You're the one that's has the outcome or the result right away. Credit repair is something where you're sending out, and there's one part of it that you don't have any decision power over. And that's the same with settlements. That when settlements are submitted, you can't make a debt collector accept that settlement. What you're doing is you're just had that back and forth. You're trying to give them a picture of your situation so they can accept your settlement offer. And then when it comes to doing your credit repair with the bureaus, same process. You're putting your disputes together, asking for certain things to be done, seeing what results come back, and then you have to start that process over again if you don't get the result that you want. And you might be saying, well, why don't you get the result that you want? They have laws that they have to abide by. All of this stuff, these standards, CFPV, all of this stuff. Let me just, like, it's not that simple because there's millions of documents that are coming through. Just imagine you're one of the bureaus and you're receiving stacks and stacks and stacks of mail, and you're saying, well, they should just hire more people and do this and that. They have to do it. Well, maybe so, maybe not, but I could just tell you it is what it is, and it's always been this way. So the way to beat it is not to sit there and try to complain about something that you have no control of. Is you should take control of what you have control of, which is submission. Submission, review, submission. When you review, you make changes to fit their response. If their response was just a templated response, then you resubmit again. That's what you got to do. Now, other things that you got to do, and funny thing about this one was this brings back this one real life example that I like to use. There was a husband and wife signed up together for credit repair. The wife is like going great. Now they have the same accounts. Like there's nothing. Their reports. They were married. They got the same accounts. Same accounts went bad. Would you believe on the wife's reports, stuff is just cleaning. Like stuff is just coming off. Nothing's getting proven. Collections. We're not gonna come after you for this. We don't have to prove. Can't validate. Off. Same account for the same accounts, groups of accounts for the husband, no action. Bureaus, nothing. The collection accounts, nothing. And I looked at it and I was like, well, maybe it was in his name and not her name. This everything they got together. And this is what it is. And I see this a lot. I see this a lot. And it's sometimes it's hard for me to describe, because not because I don't know what I mean. It's because some people are not ready to hear it. When you put a signal out there with your mindset of what you expect, you are gonna get back what you put out there. That's why you can have people that are in one relationship and they go to another relationship and they have the same problems with a different person. And you might be saying to yourself, how are they having, maybe they're choosing the same person. They're subconsciously already setting it up. They're bringing that experience to them. They think that they're making a choice of that experience. They've already imagined that experience. What I believe happens with people who don't have a good result with the credit is that they already expect a bad experience. They already expect things not to work for them. There are negative people all around and they expect bad things to happen to them, which is crazy. I know some of you maybe don't believe that anyone could want something bad to happen to them. I'm here to tell you it happens all the time. I've seen people where it was like, you want this bad thing to happen, you just don't consciously know it. And what I try to tell them, or say, hey, this is what I'm meaning by that. You don't know what it feels like to have things go good for you. You've had some things go good for you, but you are more used to having bad things happen to you. So when you look at something good happening, first feeling that you get in your body is to start preparing for something bad to happen. Or if something good happens to you, you start preparing for something bad to happen for you. You're like, that was good, and now something bad has happened to me, because really only bad things happen to me. That's what's going through their mind. So they're uncomfortable. Consciously, they want good. Consciously, they want to have an excellent score and repaired credit, everything. But subconsciously, their body, their habits, everything that they experienced is like a pot of just stewing in there. And soon as they try to put that good in there, it gets rejected. It gets rejected, but it gets in there because people would just probably cease to exist if they didn't at least let something good happen. So they feel good at the beginning. They're like, I'm doing something, I'm doing something. But the subconscious overwrites it. What they've experienced in their life will just keep going and going, and all of a sudden, why didn't this work? Why didn't that work? It's like they'll be having bad dreams about their credit staying bad. It's like they'll like every moment of their life is more pointed towards bad things happening for them than good things happening for them. And this is not just for credit, it's for all the things. If you think about negative people, you can tell a negative person something, and the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to think of the ways that what you just told them won't work. And this is not really their fault. This is something that has been over time placed inside of them. So the way to get over that, the way to get over it, and this is the way that for business, the way that I got over embarrassment for business, because especially when you're starting something new for a business, and family and friends and people are like, well, who do you think you are? You're just like us. You didn't have nothing. You didn't have no money. We all had the same education. It's like, why do you think you're any better? They don't say it that way. They do it with their actions. Number one, they don't support your business, and number two, you shouldn't expect them to support it that way, but you shouldn't expect them to be against you. And a lot of people will end up trying to be against people solely because they're trying to better themselves to do something that they were afraid of doing. So the way that you fix that, the way that I do it for a new business or something, a habit that I want to overcome, I think this is probably the best way to do it, is to write down like 7 things that you're willing to do to get over that. So like if you to stay on your credit, you could say something like, I'm not going to listen to nothing anybody tells me. I don't care about what someone else experienced with trying to repair their credit. I know what I want to do. You can also write down, this is the goal I want. I'm not going to accept the smaller goal. I'm not going to worry about what I'm letting go to get to what I want to get to. You can put on there, I'm going to stop accepting less. I'm going to start expecting more. And then you put, so when you write these things down and you read them, it'll put you into a mindset of alignment. Like you align yourself every morning, and you say, I woke up with a 600 score, but I'm gonna keep doing everything that it takes to get to that 834 score. And any feelings that you have of being not worthy, any feelings that you have from other people saying that it's not possible for you, any feelings that you have that try to get you off your goal, you deal with them. You don't ignore them. You deal with it and you move forward, because that's how you're going to get to where you want to be. You can't sit there and start to think backwards. Like that's what a lot of people start doing. They start thinking backwards. So the next thing is you need to forget past results. And I kind of just said that. Forget the past results. Forget any disappointments that you might have had. Because that has nothing to do with what you're doing right now. Uh, when it comes to credit repair, uh, I guess why I believe that is so important is because the wealth that people give away when they're not, when they don't have good credit. It's like two different worlds. You have one where you're like, I can't save any money. Like, what is stopping me from saving money? And then you look at your situation and you're like, well, my credit is bad, so I'm paying more for the same things that people pay less for with good credit. So that means and so when you think about that, if you have bad credit, and even if you go to buy something uh, that other people with good credit have, let's just use for this example a car. So you go and buy an expensive car that you probably maybe couldn't afford, but you get that because you want something nice. I mean, we don't want to go around and not have nice things. So you're like, I'm getting this and it's for me. I got nice cars, so I know the feeling. So you go and get it, and then you it's like the payment that you have because of your credit is ridiculous. You put yourself in a worse situation. So you've hurt yourself by, number one, financing something and you're paying way more than what you should be paying if you would have had a better score. So that's just part one and two. Part three is you've given away your wealth. Like you're building wealth for someone else. You're like, if you have a $500 car payment because of bad credit, when you could have had a 250 payment with good credit, and you could have put 150 aside for retirement or investment or whatever, and then spent the 100 on whatever you wanted. If you want to go out to dinner or whatever you want to do with that extra $100, you see why it's not just the one thing. It's not just the one thing. It's more than just the purchase. And then now let's times that. Times a credit card that you might have. Times that times a student loan that you have. Times that times a car or a couple of cars and your mortgage and some other stuff that you maybe be paying on. Look at what the situation you've put yourself into, and if you just put the template over, so you have that's those payments, and you just put that template over with an 834 credit score, what do you think monthly you would be saving? So wouldn't it be to your advantage to just say, I don't care what it takes, and I'm willing to go all in, and I don't have to know the exact time frame. What I should do is get involved in doing the work, and then when I get there, I'll have those benefits. Because if you keep, you have this dream of having that score, but you don't do anything in the middle of it, or do the work in the middle to get yourself in that position, it's just going to be a dream. It's not going to be. It's not going to. It's going to take a while to potentially materialize. But the only problem with it being able to materialize, which is another additional benefit that I should have had wrote down on here, is that all of the stuff that you're doing in there over this period of time, if we were to kind of boil this down to one word, it would be habits. And if you put a word attached to that, it would be good habits. Right now, what do you think you would have if you had a 600 score? What do you think um, your habits are? Do you think that they're good or bad? So that's an additional benefit that you're going to be changing yourself. And that's why when people see people, they'll think like, you changed. You know, you're not who you used. You don't act like you used to act. You know, who do you think you are now? Like, you too good to be around us. When it's what you've really done is you've changed your habits. When you change your habits, part of that is going to be where you might not be as negative as you used to be, or you may not be negative at all, where you're more of a positive minded individual. And when you go around those negative people, or people who don't understand your level of awareness, they're gonna think that, you don't like them anymore, you changed. And when it's really what you've done is you've worked on yourself. And when you work on yourself and you change and you have those good habits, uh, good things start to come to you. Like, the puzzle starts to put itself together. So now when you send out uh, a letter to a furnisher, to a debt collector, rather than thinking it's the same old, don't you have positive thinking on that letter. And it's like, this is gonna work. Or, where I see a way of attacking that specific account. And then it happens with another one, and then all of a sudden you like putting that puzzle together, and all these pieces are starting to come together. Like, you have one win over here, you have another win over there, and all of a sudden it's like I'm starting to see that puzzle. But that puzzle was all scrambled up when you first got started. It was all scrambled up when you first got started. So, all right, I want to end the video here. Anyone that is still watching this video at this time, what I want you to do is I want you to send an email to support@thecreditrepairshop.com. If you're still watching this video right now, because I'm going to get you a free gift. If you're watching this video is at 42 minutes and 33 seconds. So if you're still watching, just put down 42 minutes and 33 seconds. Steve said he's going to get me something for free. I'll surprise you with that. But send that to there. Send it to support@the creditrepairshop.com. All right. If you need help with your credit, please visit us at thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different. So you can see my two-phase settlement. Two-phase settlement process is my 8-point validation process. I put it on a video. Videos remain the same. Pricing changed for the services, but the way we repair credit still works to this day. If you need your credit reports and scores, please go to the website your3scores.com. Get all three reports, all three scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations letter or time barred letter, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, President, founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.